Shalom everyone, welcome to our channel. We are Beth Kadosh Ministry, and today we are going to study the Parashat Toldot. This is the Parashat number 6. Parashat means the Torah portion that we study every week. And the Parashat Toldot is in the book of Bereshit or Genesis 25, chapter 25, verse 19 to chapter 28, verse 9. And the word Toldot means generations. These are the generations, and this parasha talks about the generations of Isaac, the son of Abraham. And Isaac took Rebekah as his wife, and the Torah says that Rebekah could not have children. But Isaac prayed Yahweh, and Rebekah conceived twins. But something was happening when Rebekah was pregnant, and she went to ask Yahweh what that Yahweh can tell her what was happening inside her belly, and Yahweh answered her that there was 2 nations inside, and later Jacob and Esau was born. And this means that when we have something that we don't understand why is happening, we have to go ask Yahweh, because He is our helper. Yahweh is our refuge. He helps us when we are in trouble, and all we have to do is ask Yahweh and believe in Him that He will take care of that problem. And no matter what problem is, Yahweh is going to give a solution. And Yahweh wants everyone to ask Him as Rebekah did. And it can be that Yahweh is gonna give us is gonna answer immediately, or maybe it's gonna take time to answer our prayers, but we need to ask Yahweh. And Yahweh answered her that the twins were going to be 2 nations. And as I said, Jacob and Esau was born, and we're going to learn in this parasha what about each one of them, about Esau and Jacob, because in the Christian church we learned that Jacob stole the childbirth of Esau, but we're gonna see that is not true. And we're gonna read about Jacob. In this way, we're gonna learn about Jacob. And in this way, we want to understand that Jacob was obedient. Jacob obeyed Yahweh.
Jacob was always in his tent. It means that he was obeying the Torah. Jacob loved the Torah. Jacob is an example for many teenagers that need to obey the Torah and know being in bad games, respect their parents' rules. Jacob knew how important it was to obey Yahweh, and there is blessing when we obey Yahweh. But what happened to Esau? He he was always in the camp hunting. Being in the camp means being in disobedience. Esau did not care, obeying the Torah instead.
Esau was always in the camp. Esau being in the camp means being in the world of sin. Esau did not obey the Torah as many teenagers today. They do not want to obey their parents. Instead, they go to places that they are not allowed to go by their parents, looking for sin. Many teenagers, to the bad, they call good, and to the good, they call bad. The Torah says that there are ways that look good to the men, but at the end is the way of death. Today, Yahweh wants the teenagers of every person to be like Jacob, obedient to his Torah, and to return to his in obedience to the commandments of the Torah.
Who is Esau now? Esau also means red Esau. Also represents the Catholic Church. Catholic Church is against Yahweh because they changed the Shabbat in order of the first day of the week in honor to the sun god. Also, the Catholic Church changed Yahweh's feast to other feasts that are not in the Torah. Is Esau now? Esau also means red Esau. Also represents the Catholic Church. Catholic Church is against Yahweh because they changed the Shabbat in order the first day of the week in honor to the sun god. Also, the Catholic Church changed Yahweh's feast to other feasts that are not in the Torah.
These days, they are approving laws that are contrary to the Torah, that is Esau. Yahweh wants that everyone obey his Torah and come to be Israel's. Once you know Yeshua, you are Israel. If you know Yeshua, we invite you to return to obey Yahweh's Torah and to obey like Jacob did. In the Christian church, we were badly taught that Jacob usurped the birthright of Esau, but that is a lie, because the Torah tells us that Esau did not care about his birthright. He did not care about the Torah, and he was always in the camp. And the camp is a symbol of he was always in the field, and in the field is a symbol of the world. It's a symbol of being in sin. It's a symbol of disobedience. And Esau did not obey his parents, and he took a wife from the Canaanite women. And Esau knew that his parents did not agree that he took a wife from the Canaanite woman. But Jacob obeyed his parents, and the parents told Jacob to go and take a wife from his mother's family, and he went to take a wife from there. He obeyed, and Jacob was always in his tent. That means that he was obedient. That means that being in the tent means that being in obedience to Yahweh. And that means being under the protection of Yahweh. And how we are going to be under that protection? It's only one way. It's only obeying Yahweh's Torah. It's only returning to the true day of worshiping, true day of rest, that is the Shabbat. Because Sunday is a day imposed by the Catholic Church. And Yahweh wants all the believers in Yeshua to return and obey the true day of worship, the true day of rest, and live the first day of the week, because there is no verse in the Bible, on the Torah, that says that we need to rest on the first day of the week. There is no verse. We cannot find one verse that says that the day of rest is the first day of the week. The first day of the week, the day of rest is the seventh day. In Hebrew is Shabbat. And Jacob was obedient to Yahweh. That's why Yahweh wants everyone who knows Yeshua to come and obey the Torah, and don't believe the lie that we learn in the Christian church, that the Torah was abolished. That is a lie from the enemy. And we were celebrating other feasts that are not in the Torah. Yahweh is calling all the believers in Yeshua, everyone that is in the Christian church, to return to the Torah, to return to do what is written in the Bible. Jacob liked the blessings of Yahweh. That is why Yahweh changed the name of Jacob and gave him the name of Israel. And Israel means the one who prevails. And that's why Yahweh wants to change the believers in Yeshua, because for many centuries in the church we say, the church says that the church is the spiritual Israel, or the Gentile church, and those names are not in the Torah. Yahweh really wants all the believers in Yeshua to come and recognize the true identity. That is not a Gentile church, that is not a spiritual Israel, that is not a Israel, a church that replaces Israel. All those names does not exist in the Torah. But the true name that Yahweh wants his people to recognize is Israel. Yahweh wants to change your name, that you don't name yourself spiritual Israel or Gentile church. That your name is Israel because you believe in Yeshua. But the thing that Yahweh wants you to do is come in obedience to his commandments, come in obedience to the feast, and leave all the feast imposed by the Catholic Church, like starting with the first day of the week, that we were told that was the day of rest, but that is not the day of rest. The day of rest is Shabbat, is the first day of the week. And this is the Parashat for today, and I hope that you do the good decision to come and obey Yahweh and recognize yourself as Israel, and recognize that you are an Israelite through the blood of Yeshua, and leave all the lies that said that the Torah was abolished, that the day of rest is the first day of the week, because that is not true. Our true day of rest is Shabbat, and Shabbat starts Friday night to Saturday night, because Yeshua went to the synagogue in Shabbat. Yeshua fulfilled the feast of Passover, of Pesach, when he died, and he resurrected, and the unleavened bread is when he was on the grave, and the first fruit in Hebrew is Bikurim, when he resurrected. He fulfilled the feast. There are 3 feasts that he will fulfill. but four feasts, Yeshua already fulfilled 4 feasts, and that is the feast of the Pesach, Passover, when he died, unleavened bread when he was on the grave, and first fruit when he resurrected. In Hebrew is Bikurim, and when the Holy Spirit poured out, that's the feast of Shavuot or Pentecost. And Yeshua is the reason of the Torah. Yeshua is the reason. The Torah is talking about him. All the Torah from Genesis to Revelation is talking about him. And it's time for you to recognize that that the Torah is for you, that the Torah is that the Torah is not a something hard to do. The commandments of Yahweh are blessings. In Deuteronomy 28, there is a blessing and curses. If we want the blessing, we have to obey the Torah. We have to come and obey the true day of worship, the true day of rest. That is the 4th commandment. The day of rest is the 4th commandment. But the first day of the week is not a commandment. That is a commandment of Constantine. And I really want to encourage you to return to Yahweh's Torah in obedience to his commandments. And it doesn't matter how many years you study in a biblical institute. If maybe you are a pastor, a doctor in the Bible, it doesn't matter. Yahweh wants you to return to his commandments. Yahweh wants you in the biblical institute, you learn about the Torah, but you never learn about that the commandments, that the Torah was not abolished. That you never learned that the Torah, we have to follow the commandments. We have to follow. If we believe in Yeshua, we have to follow the commandments, and they are not abolished as we misunderstood in the Christian church. And this is the Parashat for today, and thank you for watching. Shalom, shalom.